What's going on YouTube? Today we're going to talk about transmute crystals, how you can turn them to gold, and how you can actually store them. So a lot of people don't know a lot about transmute crystals, what they can do, what they can't do, how you can get items from them, and the latter. So let's talk about them briefly. So transmute crystals are not the newest currency, but they're not also something that was released for a while until after the game was out. So how it works is, say you have a zone. For example, you've got Arteron, and I have these sticker book pieces. So it would cost me 53 transmutes to reconstruct any of these pieces that I have. Now, how did I get these pieces? So I did one of three things with them. I either deconstructed them, quick sold them to the merchant, or equipped them to my character. That's how I got all of these random bits and bobs. So, that being said, what can I do with these? And how do I get transmute crystals? So let's talk just very quickly about how you can get them. The number one way to get transmute crystals is to get tier 1 rewards in any Cyrodiil campaign. At the end of every Cyrodiil campaign, for every character you have in the reward tier 1, you will get 50 transmutes. You guys have a long time to do this. You still have 21 days. I don't even think I've done it on this character. I have done it on this character. So you see, to get to reward tier 1, you will get 50 transmutes per characters. Take your tanks, take your healers, take your PvE characters, sit in some keeps. You need to get the equivalent, I think, like 80,000 alliance points. It will go fast. I promise you, it is so worth it. You could do it in any campaign. I always recommend doing it in Greyhost because, as you can see, it's full. I'm filming this just after the workday ended for the East Coast, and it's full on a Wednesday. So this is why I think that we should be going to Greyhost, because you're going to find conflict there. You just need to sit on some flags, take some resources. Bada bing, bada boom, you'll be good. All right. Now that we're earning transmutes, there's a couple other ways you could do it. I also recommend doing your daily battleground. As you can see, you'll get a decent reward with one of those. And your daily dungeon. It can actually be veteran or normal, makes no difference. Certain daily quests also give them, so for example, the Battlegrounds daily quest also will give you some occasionally, as well as the Undaunted daily quests will also give you transmute crystals. Now that we've talked about how to get them, I'm sure it's on your mind. How can you turn these bad boys into cold, hard cash? And what can you do if you're at 1,000? So let's talk about gold first. So let's say I wanted to transmute something. Now, this is where it gets a little interesting, is that it's going to require a piece of jewelry. So we would need to make jewelry, more than likely. And what we're going to do is create a generic ring of anything. Any trait. Make a couple of them. You can do this with existing pieces of items also if you would want. And where does that put the rings? So that would put the rings down here. So now what we're going to do is you're going to notice something, is that a lot of these pieces, so for example, infused, the aerobic amber costs 26,000 gold currently to purchase, but it only costs me 50,000 500 transmutes, not 50,000, 500 transmutes, which means that I'm basically getting this trait for free as long as I pay the 50 transmutes to transmute it. And for those of you who've seen my video on deconstructing, you'll know that you'll get this trait item back at about a rate of 60%. And I tested it with just jewelry pieces too, and the rate of return that you're going to get this back is 60%. Now, the Triune and Infused are probably the two best things to do this with. If you don't have that to purchase and deconstruct, my recommendation for you would be to then to go craft the staff and then transmute it to Nirnhold. You want to use a Nirn Crux. It can be on any piece of weapons. Transmute it to that, and then you can get a Nirn Crux back. This is also a great way if you need specifically something. So say, for example, like you need some aerobic amber to craft something. You could do this, transmute it over, and then deconstruct it. Again, so you're going to be deconstructing at a rate, your recollection rate is going to be about 60%. How do I know that? Well, I've been sitting here testing it, and I'll show you how I've been testing it. So I've just been refining, or / creating a whole bunch of things. We'll pick a trait, powered. Make 10 of them. So we've made 10. And now we're gonna deconstruct them. And then in the top right corner, you'll see that we got 7. So it's usually between 5 and 7. I've never gotten any number higher. I've never gotten a number lower. And then that's how you get your item back. You transmute it to a trait that you want, and then you deconstruct it to get that trait material back to you. Now, what does that mean gold-wise for those of us who are interested in turning this into gold? It means about every 50 transmutes is going to get you about 15k gold. Is that worth it? I would say no. But as a useful tool, if you're in a pinch for a couple trait items, you can always deconstruct 2 of them, pretty much guaranteed to get the trait item that you need, and you can save yourself from some gold. Especially if you're strapped on it. Because I know a lot of people have a bunch of transmutes and they don't know what to use them on. Which brings us to my final point. What do you do if you have full transmutes? And that is you just go. So I know, for example, that I have completely done, not the DLC dungeon. I've completed this dungeon looking for the Medusa set at one point. And so that means that what I can do is I can reconstruct these pieces. So say I want to just make a restoration staff or an inferno staff and Medusa. It's a very good trait. Notice, however, this is actually using a trait item from my inventory. Just keep that in mind. I want it to be precise, and then we'll just leave it blue. That's going to cost me 25 transmute crystals. What am I doing? I already have the staff. Why am I doing this? And that's actually because the game never really explicitly tells you this, but you can actually deconstruct this and then get your transmute crystals back. So if you're at the capacity for transmute crystals, say you go absolutely buck wild ape shit, and then you do all 14, and you got 14 characters, you take them all to Cyrodiil. Every time in Cyrodiil campaigns you get 700. You can easily, put that in your storage by basically making any item with your transmutes and then deconstructing them to get your transmutes back. So that's a fun little fact for you that not everyone knows about transmute crystals, but at the end of the day, that's how you turn transmute crystals into gold. It's not the most gold productive method for you. It's more of a little bit of a niche thing, especially for those of us who struggle to get trade items, because sometimes, especially for those jewelry ones, there's not even any on the market. So if you have a bunch of extra transmutes, you can create your own. So that's how you do that, guys, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Again, I want to thank everyone who suggested these types of videos. Again, if you ever want to suggest a video, just always leave it in the comments on the YouTube channel on any video, and I'll make it into